Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 78. 78 or 79 of the Voice of Punk. I just had a brain fart there. Um, Episode 78 or 79 of the Voice of Punk. I'm your host, the JF Punk. Now, for this episode, I'm going to give you guys a review. Uh, I'm going to give you guys my own review of Gotham Season 2, Episode 5. I watched it past night, and I'd say this episode, I'm a little mixed on this episode. Is a lot of things did happen in it, but at the same time, I felt the episode was a little slow. I thought it was a little, like, in lack of better terms, parts of it were a bit boring. But at the same time, there were some great moments in there. There was a lot of things that happened. A lot of the story was revealed, and it foreshadows a lot of events that are going to happen in the rest of the season. Um, for example, the biggest thing that we come away in this episode is we find out about Theo Calivan's family. You find out about his motive, and the backstory that they came up with for this character is a pretty interesting one. And when I say backstory, I mean backstory on his family, not him specifically. The backstory with Calivan's family also points to the character of Azrael, and the character Azrael from the comics, who is confirmed to actually be in this season. And for those who don't know, Azrael is a vigilante like Batman. He, as far as I know, I believe there's only two Azraels. I believe it's Jean Paul Valley and Heiko Lane, and they both come from the Order of Saint Dumas. And the reason why I say that is because in this episode they revealed that Galvan's family was one of the five families of Gotham. The five families of Gotham in the show are the Waynes, the Canes, the Dumas, and I believe oh, and the Elliots, which we met Hush, who is Thomas Elliot last season, but I just thought that was cool that they had Hey Elliots in there. But they go into this backstory where I think they said like the 1800s or something like that, that the Wayne's the Wayne's daughter, the Wayne's daughter was promised to the elder son of, I believe, the Elliots. I only saw the episode once, so I believe it was the elder son of the Elliot family was going to marry. It was like a fixed marriage. My cat. sorry, my cat is kind of distracting me. But uh, the 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 elder son of the Elliots, I believe, was in a fixed marriage with the daughter of the Waynes. And what happened was, it turns out that she was having an affair with one of the sons from the Dumas family. And when they get found out, she betrays him and says, you know, I wasn't doing anything. He assaulted me. He was trying to rape me and stuff like that. So the Waynes, was it? It was Jonathan Wayne. Jonathan Wayne decides to cut off the son of the Dumont family, cuts off his hand, and they send the Dumont family out of Gotham. They shun them. They push them out of power. They push them out. They erase, like, basically the Wayne family erased the Dumont family from history, right? And the Dumont family says they go hide out and they join a religious order, which I can't remember if they joined or they were part of a religious order, which again is from the comics, the Order of Saint Dumas and Casriel. And so, and then so 10 years later, the family comes back with a new name, which is Galavan, and hence Theo Caliban. And when this backstory was revealed, I thought it was very interesting. I did not expect something like that from Theo. Like, he has mentioned that his family built was basically the one of the families that founded Gotham, and he mentioned that before. But this kind of backstory I thought was very interesting. That it was all because of a lady. That's all the troubles of the world. It all comes down to a lady. But but I just thought that was a very interesting take and turn that the story went. And the episode ends with Theo meeting up with this hooded figure who I believe many people thought from the preview before. I believe many people thought that that was Azrael. Here it turns out it's not true. It's a character named Father Krell. Father Krell, I believe. Krill or Krell. I believe it's Krell. Uh, Father Krell, who like this hooded figure who looks like fucking Darth Sidious. Um, and turns out that he's in on the plan with Theo, and he asks Theo, do you have everything? Do you have everything that we need? And he asks him, do you have the Wayne's boy yet? And Theo says no, and you know Father Krell says, you know that the Bruce Wayne is going to die, and Gotham will be pretty much burnt to the ground. Will be I think filled with blood or I can't remember the exact lines, but basically turns out that the Order of Saint Dumas is basically plotting a whole revenge quest, like a whole revenge like massacre in Gotham, which is when I heard about that, that was really cool, and I think I mentioned in a video before that Theo Galavan really and like his motives really reminded me of like the League of Assassins. So and now revealing that it's the Order of Saint Dumas, really cool. It's very interesting to me. So that's really the biggest thing to take away in this episode. Another thing that happened in this episode is we get introduced to Gotham's version of Firefly. As people may know, if you don't know, Firefly is a villain in the comics. He's a guy known as Garfield Limbs, and he's basically you just hear the name, you know what he is. He's a pyromaniac, and that's basically all he does. He's very much one of those those gimmick bad guys. In this show though, turns out that Firefly is basically at first Firefly is not one person. Basically, Firefly in the show is a family. Um, but in the end, turns out Firefly is a character named Bridget, um, a girl who is about, I believe, the same age as Selena Kyle in the show. I believe they're about the same age. Because Selena Kyle mentions that she used to play with her when they were little kids. Um, and Bridget turns out to be the young. I believe she was the youngest in this family, and she was treated as a slave, like treated as a maid, and her brothers would treat her like dirt, and they would be like, hey, you know, we want you to do this, go do it, and if you don't do it, then we're going to use you as a prostitute. Um, so it all goes into where she, how do I explain this? Basically, she's afraid of her brothers, pretty much, and they force her to become their new fire starter because earlier on in the episode, um, Jim Gordon and his strike force with the new captain, Nathaniel Barnes, they do this raid on Penguin's operations, and one of them is a place called the Merc. And at the Merc, that's basically where you get all your at the Merc you basically get all of your high powered weapons. And one of the brothers, I believe, the one who's older than Bridget, but still like the second youngest brother, he was the fire starter at first. And as his raid goes on, he gets caught by Jim, and he's like first he steals a flamethrower. I believe he steals like some kind of bomb, and he sticks it in his pants and he runs off. Jim Gordon corners him with his captain, and he surrenders, but he pulls out a gun, causing Jim to shoot him. And as he shoots him, he shoots the bomb, and this kid explodes. I was like, holy shit, like this kid's dead. Like, oh my god, what the hell? So that pretty much turns into that they use Bridget as the new fire starter, and it turns out that Bridget, she's scared shitless. Like I love the actress who they got to play her because she was so believable in the role. Um, she starts the fire, and basically what happens is doing this job. At first, she's scared, but then she starts to enjoy it, and she creates her own suit which resembles Firefly, and there you go, she's Firefly. So it was a really interesting take that they did with the Firefly character, making Firefly character into this teenage girl. But it was so like the actress who they got to play her was so good, that I really didn't care that I know some people will be like, Firefly is a man in his 30s and Garfield wins. He's on a teenage girl. God damn it. I could care less. This was good, so I was a fan of it. I was a fan of what they did with it. Um, and Penguin also is getting more and more paranoid. Well, Penguin is starting to basically Penguin's starting to lose it without his mom, and God, Penguin finds out about Theo's past, and he first of all, Theo has Penguin kidnap Sid Pundersaw, who we met past season. And Sid Bundersaw is the guy who knows every single dirty secret of Wayne Enterprises. And so as he takes him there, he has Tigress. I believe that's what his sister, who his sister's supposed to be, Theo's sister, and she carves out, I think, one of his eyes, which is like really a kind of a brutal scene. You don't actually see it, but just the reaction of Theo and the sound, it was like, ugh, my god. They just sound like that, and like Sid screaming and stuff. Basically how this all comes together is Theo wants Penguin to burn down old buildings that are all owned by Wayne Enterprises. And so that's why Penguin has Butch hire the Firefly clan. That, even though like that's not actually their name, but I like to call them that, the Firefly clan, because I just think it sounds cool. And also because it reminds me of the Firefly clan from House of Thousand Corpses, kind of Devil's Rejects. So, but he basically has Butch hire these guys to burn down these buildings. And Penguin figures out about the past of Theo's family and decides that he decides that he's going to make himself seem more crazy and cuts off Butch's hand so he can send Butch to Theo and have Butch join Theo to infiltrate him. That will give Butch more time to find his mom, and they will be able to destroy Theo from the inside. Um, that was actually a really great scene where he's explaining his plan to Butch as he's having Butch drink all bunch of having Butch drink all bunch of shots of liquor, just basically trying to numb the pain that he's going to cut off his hand, you know. Yeah, so all like I said before, this episode was very it was kind of slow, but at the same time there was so much stuff revealed, and um basically basically one final thing on this episode, Michael Chiklis as Nathaniel Barnes is awesome. He is awesome. Um, basically he's very very hardcore about law enforcement. Um, yeah, so I really cannot wait till next episode. We also have some stuff with Trevor Enigma and Miss Kringle finally together, and but nothing really happened out of that. You know, they have a little like a double date with Jim Gordon and Leslie Tompkins, but nothing really came out of it. And I really even though the performances are good, we really could have done without the fondue stuff, without the double date. You know, you could really cut that out of this episode. I think it would have made him move along a lot more faster. But all in all, I thought I enjoyed the episode, but at the same time, it was a little slow moving and it just wasn't really as fast paced as the previous episodes were, in my opinion. So basically, that's my review of this episode. I hope you enjoyed. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.